My name is Travis Cummings. I am the head coach of the Cochrane Endurance Project in Cochrane, Alberta. It's a relatively new club that was started about 2 years ago, founded by myself, a friend of the community, and my fiance. I would say there's a couple things that were really big. I undervalued the importance of mental training before going through the evaluation. I did the performance coaching evaluation. By the way, I'm now a certified performance coach. That was really valuable, and I completely understand the importance and emphasis of mental training with coaching athletes of all ages now. It was very useful. The other big thing that I learned was I already had a good idea about certain things, but adequate periodization and very good ideas for adequate periodization. I would not have had access to the resources if I hadn't gone through this process to understand completely what general prep is and specific prep and competition prep and taper and transition recovery. Very clear ideas about what that looks like now, and I'm very thankful that I was able to experience that. Also being able to create like structured templates as visuals to show athletes like what their training looks like and why they're doing specific things. The resources and the rigor of the program that was required to complete everything really made a difference in how I create visuals and documentation and structure to show athletes about what their training looks like. It's totally changed the quality of what I do as a coach. One thing that I think is important is if you're to do these evaluations, you should put your assumptions aside about what you think you know. Value your experience, but at the start of this evaluation and at the end, I wouldn't say I'm a completely different coach, but I'm a much more effective coach, a much more knowledgeable coach, a much more humble coach, and a much more experienced coach. I think this evaluation makes me 100% more effective as a high performance coach. Continuing to build a club here in Cochrane. I'd like to become more active with Athletics Alberta. I feel like the sport of athletics is still a little bit underdeveloped in Alberta, and I'd like to, over the long term, take a more active role in building that. I've been active in the high school scene for a long time, in and around Calgary and provincially. I'm involved with race hosting with Athletics Alberta and with the Alberta High School Association. I'd like to continue that and build my reputation within the province, doing things the right way, becoming more involved, getting some accolades and results as the club builds, not for myself, but for the athletes. If we have and doing that the right way. We had athletes compete at nationals cross country for the first time in November. I'd like to build on that momentum. Hopefully this COVID situation doesn't deter that too long, and build a grassroots program that is inclusive and serves the larger community that we're in, and get some good results with some intrinsically motivated athletes. Eventually down the road, I'd like to, once we have the club established and there's someone who can keep it in place, I would like to move on to college or university coaching gig. It has to be the right fit. I don't necessarily have a timeline for that, But that's a goal down the road. But it's going to take a little bit of time becoming a bit more active within the provincial branch here. I'd like to become a bit more active nationally on the scene and just continue to build some relationships, mentoring wise and collegial wise as well. It's always good to have ideas from people who are experienced and people who are going through the same sort of process that you're in. So I think that's on the horizon, and the Athletics Canada program has definitely helped me along the way of trying to live out that passion of being involved in athletics and a coaching perspective. I have a larger appreciation for what it means to be a coach, and looking forward to see what happens in the future.